Let's discuss our main speaker this evening. Education. Local schools. We've had many speakers in the past from the school board, superintendents, Roy Romer.
You can let Matt back.
Oh, that's right. Let Matt back in the room. Matt, tell Matt he's allowed back in. So we've never had the point of view of the teachers and the teachers union. I think a lot of people in this room may think that the teachers are the problem. You can't fire teachers. There's seniority. There's too many bad teachers who just stick around. They're not flexible. So we've asked our speaker this evening to kind of address what the problems are, address what these solutions are, and what should the school board be doing that it's not doing to make our local schools better. With that, I'd like to introduce A.J. Duffy, president of U.T.L.A, which is the Los Angeles Teachers Union.
Thank you. A couple of things. Just call me Duffy. That's what I prefer. Everybody does. And when I came in, I heard some people whispering, "He's here, he's here." And I was shocked because I didn't think there were still people around from that incident in Brooklyn 30 years ago. So invite me back. I'll talk about that afterwards. I do want to talk about education. I actually have some wares to sell here, but I want to talk about a whole bunch of things, and then I want to take as little time as possible and then open it up to questions. So, as any good teacher, I want to get a feel for my classroom and my students, and I'm going to ask for a couple of people to pass these out.
Sure. Yeah. Jules, John, right here.
No, let's not have the same A students raising their hand. And I'll get to that afterwards. I noticed when I came in there was a whole bunch of teachers that I know, actually, that are here. It's always nice. We had a big rally yesterday at Poetry where we set up 2,600 empty chairs to represent the 2,600 teachers and health and human service professionals that have gotten pink slips. The interesting thing is, with the debate about good teachers, bad teachers, good administrators, bad administrators, parents who don't parent, etc., etc. If you actually sit down and talk to teachers, they'll tell you from the classroom what they've seen year after year through a whole lifetime. Right now, California is the 8th largest economy in the world. And I always repeat that because there are always people who say, "Did he say what I thought he said?" Yes, he did. The 8th largest economy in the world, and yet we're 47th or 50th, depending upon whose study you read, in per pupil spending, which makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And yes, in education, money does matter. Let me make an overall statement. What's wrong with public education? It's not the so-called bad teachers or the bad administrators or the parents who are working 2, 3 jobs to survive. What's wrong with public education today is it's an old system that never built change into it. So now we're struggling to fix what needs to be fixed. But I want to be real clear. Despite what the media says and what you read, L.A. Unified is not the terrible system that people say it is. Of our 700 schools, we have over 350 schools that are academic performance index, and that's what the state judges us by. 750 and over, and 800 is the gold standard. We have 85 schools that are California Distinguished Schools. We've won the National Academic Decathlon 6 times since '98. Last year, we lowered the dropout rate by 17%, and the graduation rate went up 8%. Now, are those statistics that would suggest that we have bad teachers? I don't think so. The teaching profession is like any other profession. It's a bell-shaped curve. On one end, you have the super great. On the other end, clearly, there are people who do not belong in the profession. But in the middle, you have a vast majority of people who are doing the job, and doing a good job. About 8 months ago, I suggested to the school board that we form a teacher quality working group. And we did. And it was headed by Ted Mitchell, who's president of the state school board. We are talking about pay for performance, but not merit pay, because merit pay doesn't work. There is no studies that show that merit pay improves student outcomes. What we are talking about is enhanced opportunities for teachers who want to become master teachers, who want to become national board certified teachers, teachers who are really good at creating lesson plans and teaching other teachers how to use them. We want to create opportunities for teachers to stay in the classroom. The system we have now, the only way you can make more money is leave the classroom, become an administrator, get farther and farther and farther away from what the business folks call the product, and that's our students. So we have to incentivize the best. Another issue is seniority, and we're perfectly willing to sit down and talk about it. But again, there are no studies that show that doing away with seniority significantly improves student outcomes. So for me, as the president of the second largest teachers union in the country, when I hear people say they want to do away with seniority, I have to think to myself, what's behind this? If the president and Arnie Duncan and the governor and the mayor and everybody else is talking about data-driven, then why aren't they data-driven? Because the data isn't there. As a matter of fact, I can make a case for the fact that seniority actually does work in LA Unified. If you look at the trajectory of test scores and API scores that have gone up over the past 7 years, and consider the fact that our contract allows for senior teachers in elementary schools to choose the grade level they want to choose, they want to teach it. API has gone up not just in elementary school, but in middle school and in high school. The building blocks, I'm sure everybody here, whether you're an educator or not, agrees. Kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade. According to the LAUSD statistics, 95% of the teachers in K-3 are veteran teachers. So the data would suggest that there is a very powerful case to be made for the fact that the combination of veteran teachers and smaller class sizes is what actually has created the building blocks for growth in our public schools. But we're still perfectly willing to sit down and talk about it. We believe, and I know there are some union people in the room, there you go, that the unions, whatever you may think about them, are the last bastion of the middle class.